Alex, can you put down the birthday cake for a second so we can say hi?
Second. I'm almost done.
Our kids turned 3 yesterday.
That's good.
We had a birthday party.
Yeah.
And I think the most important thing, apart from the fact that to me, the important thing is the party is over.
The party is over.
Yes, we are done for a year now. This is the age when they're actually beginning to understand what birthday is, and they really, really, really love it.
Yeah, they do. And they had fun. And I think the other kids had fun. And I think that the parents, I think my goal for a birthday party for the parents is that the parents aren't pissed off when they leave.
Right.
Like, you don't make them do things like, fly to Africa or some kind of crazy thing like that. You make it easy, give them a little bit of booze. Also,
which we did.
We did. And then, and then have the thing end in time for nap time for the kids. I think we took care of everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, it was good.
Also for us, I think it's a good milestone because let's just say that the first year was horrible.
Shit.
Horrible.
Yeah.
The second year was a little bit better, but still horrible.
Yeah.
Better.
Third year was definitely a step up. We are heading in a positive direction.
Yes, they're finally becoming human.
Yep.
They're not just blobs who shit and cry.
No, they're humans who shit and cry.
And we don't understand what it is about.
Yeah.
And we are looking forward for the future, which is toilet training.
Oh, yeah. That'll be exciting. Although I have to honestly tell you that all of this fixation on how hard, the diapers are and everything, that's not the bad part of parenting.
It's not, but it definitely makes it
the
easier.
The screaming is the bad part of parenting.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. It's just that, first of all, it's free. It's much more free for us. But also, of course, the fact that they will understand when we're actually explaining to them that they can't have this or that right now.
Which will be what, at 25, 26 years old, that they'll be able to understand that they can't have everything that they want?
No, I am looking forward to this year. Really.
Huh?
I think that this year is going to be the year in which everything will be so much better for us and it's going to be easier.
Dream a little dream.
Yay. Welcome
Happy birthday, Ben and Adam.
Happy birthday, kids. So welcome to Daddy Square, episode 3. We're very excited to have you here. Before we get to our main issue today, I want to share with you guys something that happened to us this week. To Alex and I. To Alex and I.
To
Alex and me.
Yeah.
We were buying stuff at Target.
I don't know where you're going. Go ahead.
You know?
I don't.
Yeah. Good. We were buying stuff at Target, and while we were standing in line to pay, there was a couple in the line in front of us. You know this story?
Yeah, the imbecile story.
Who bought teething gel teething gel that you're not supposed to give to your kids before the age of 2.
Yeah.
So we had a problem. So on one hand, we wanted to tell them, right, that, listen, this is not FDA approved. It's actually dangerous if you have a baby.
And I think we saw that they were taking other things in their purchase that made it look like their kid was very, very young. Yeah.
So we had this dilemma of whether or not to shove our noses and tell them, listen, see that you buy this. Maybe it's not good for you. It's
I didn't want to be Gwyneth Paltrow. It was like kind of like, I'm the Earth Mother and I know everything. And you shouldn't. Oh my goodness. But look, what I think
first of all, I want to, before we reveal what we did, I want to pose this question to our listeners, just in case you are listening and you feel like commenting. So what would you do in this situation? Would you interfere with the people in front of you in line and say, listen, this is not good for your kid. This is not good for a baby. This is not FDA approved. Or would you just not shove your noses and mind your own business.
Send us an email at hello@daddysqr.com and let us know. And, you could, I suppose, press pause now and answer before you hear what we did, or you could judge us after the fact, which we would love.
Yeah, we love being judged.
So here's what we did. So here's what I did. I whispered in Hebrew to Jan, just checking. I don't actually remember my husband's name, and I wasn't sure what to do. And then I ended up deciding I just couldn't bear the idea of not just saying something. So what I did was I got my phone out and I Googled it to find the message or the posting from the FDA about using that kind of thing. And then I just kind of tapped the husband on the shoulder and I said, listen, I feel so stupid to interrupt you, but I just want to tell you about this. And I showed it to him on the phone, and he didn't look at me like I was crazy or that he was angry, which is good. They did not take it out of their purchase. No, they just kept buying, but he was nice about it and he said thank you, and his wife also said thank you. So I didn't feel terrible about it. But look, honestly, I guess a thing like that, I felt like I should say something, right?
Yeah.
Right? hello@daddysquare.com.
daddysqr.com. The life of their babies.
The babies.
Is much more worth
for the children
than our little shame.
Right, little discomfort.
Yeah, little discomfort in line on target. Today we're going to talk about Dad Bod. So, by the way,
Dad.
Yes. Write us. hello@daddysqr.com. We covered that. Also, if you do write us and you feel like rating and review us,
please rate us. We love 5 stars.
We love rating.
We love all 5 of the stars.
And also review, because if you review, it kind of makes the podcast more visible for other people, and we want to be visible, especially for gay haters. Who, by the way, we received a gay hate mail.
Ooh, juicy.
Somebody's just sent us that we're perverts.
They have no idea. That's awesome.
So keep the hate mail coming.
No.
We want to be rated and reviewed. That was somebody from Ireland. I don't know what's happening with Dublin.
It's all about Dublin, I suppose. Thank you, Dublin. Except
for you, the perverts.
Right. Thank you, perverts in Dublin.
By the way, I went to, so I kind of Googled him.
Yeah.
Of course I did. You know me.
This is not good.
Journalism background.
You did not communicate with him,
I did
right?
not, but I just saw on his Facebook profile that he's also against abortion.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, they go together.
Maybe
Peas in a pod.
Trump.
Peas in a pod. Is he cute?
Oh my God,
sometimes the horrible, horrible, hateful people are good looking, and I hate that, but it happens.
Yeah, not all of them are Team Tebow, Alex. Most of them are not. Today we're going to talk about Dad Bod, and I promise that you, Alex, and maybe the rest of our listeners will, by the end of this hour, will want to go to the gym. I'm telling you.
Hold on. Okay, so hopefully we're going to have a lot of listeners, and they're only going to hear our voices, and then they're going to walk away thinking that I don't work out, and then I'm like a 400-pound
No, we actually
schlub.
do. And
so
the fact that we brought it as one of our first subjects on the first season, it means that it's really important to us, basically.
It is important to us.
We brought on Tommy Woelfel, a certified sprint instructor in the local gay gym. The gym's name.
We could say its name, but then they would have to actually,
what do you mean?
Support us financially.
No.
What do you mean?
The name is going to be revealed 1,000 times over during the interview. This is why I'm saving this time.
All right.
So he's a sprint instructor, and we talked about motivation to stay fit, and about eating habits also, and about Dad Bod.
Dad Bod.
Dad Bod.
I'm just going to throw a little Latin in here. Mens sana in corpore sano.
Yes.
It means sound body, sound mind. And he actually talks about it in the interview a little bit. And I think that there's something to it. Absolutely, the primary reason to go to the gym is to look really good so that people, hit on you in the supermarket. But it absolutely would have been impossible for me to make it through the last 3 years if I didn't work out, because I would have plunged into a depression if I didn't have the energy that came from working out.
Yes, so it's really important, and it was important to us even before the kids came along. So it's something that we met at the gym.
We did meet at the gym.
So we both know that it's important for each of us. So if I didn't get to go to the gym in the morning, Alex will volunteer to watch the kids in order for me to go to the gym, because he knows how much it means to me, and vice versa.
Absolutely.
Are you ready for the interview?
I am ready for the interview. Although, you know what? Yeah. But maybe before the interview begins, I have a recommendation for you all. Just pop onto Google, preferably if you're not driving right now, but pop onto Google and type in Dad Bod, and then go to images, and just do a quick spin through Dad Bod images, and have a nice look before we start the interview.
Yes, and and before we start the interview, I have a little confession.
Yes.
I want to tell you all how I became familiar with Tommy. His husband, Richard, helped us during the process of having kids. His husband is a lawyer who deals with surrogacy. And during our process, he had a phone call with us explaining to us all of the...
Oh, that was Richard.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Hi, Richard.
So this is how I became familiar. And during that call, he mentioned that he himself did what we wanted to do. So I actually looked him up on Facebook and started following him, and it was even before we had the kids. This is how I became to know Tommy and the rest of his family, not personally, but through Facebook. And it was very inspiring for me, because I saw two men who both have careers, who both do the stuff that they love to do, and they're raising two boys like I wanted to raise. And it made me feel good. It made me feel like it's going to happen, and right. There's so much motivation and inspiration that you can take just from, it's a really simple thing, but it helps you visualize how do you want your life to be.
There are lots of strong but also very light ways, if you're considering having kids, of connecting with people, to try to understand what it might be like. So the strong ways are you can go to groups, and in fact we have an upcoming episode where we're going to be talking about groups that you can connect with. But there are even really light ways, like find some of these people on Facebook and just look at pictures of what it's like to have a life with kids. Obviously on Facebook they make everything look like it's fun and easy and nice, but at the same time, it really will help you imagine a little bit what life will be when suddenly you are a group rather than an individual. I think it's a great idea to do it, no matter how you want to try to do it.
Yes, so, and it's really helpful on so many levels. It was helpful for me, so I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you to Richard and Tommy.
Yeah.
And I think we're now ready for the episode, and get your gym clothes on, because you're gonna want to go to the gym.
Yes.
So
put your headbands and wristbands
Put your Janet on, and let's do it. Good morning and welcome to our podcast, Tommy.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. So just so we know, how do you pronounce your last name?
My name's Tommy Woelfel.
Woelfel. Okay. And you're a personal trainer?
I am a spinning instructor.
Okay, that's good.
Only a spinning instructor.
I'm sweating.
I've never been a personal trainer.
You're an instructor at Crunch, right?
Right now, exactly. Yes, I've been at Crunch for almost 20 years now.
Oh wow! I didn't know it's that old.
Yes.
Crunch has been around forever.
No, I think I was there right after it opened, like a year or two after it opened. Yeah, I mean, shortly after it opened.
So you have two kids, right? Twins?
Yes, Aiden and Austin.
And you had them through
surrogacy.
Okay.
Yes.
So
how old are they?
They turned 10 just a couple of weeks ago on August 9th.
So that was a birthday? You went to a birthday trip?
That's kind of what it's turned into, yes.
Oh, okay.
We've spent their last two birthdays in New York City. Mm-hmm. We took them to their first Broadway show.
Which one?
Wicked, last year.
Oh, Wicked.
Cool. This year...
parents to Wicked. It didn't work.
I don't remember.
Oh, they loved it. They loved it. And then we took them this year. We went for a very short period of time, but we crammed two shows in, and we took them to SpongeBob the Musical, which they loved, and which is actually an amazing show.
It's
crazy. I mean, Rich loved it, I think, just as much as the kids did.
Rich is the husband.
Rich is my husband. The husband. He's my baby's other daddy.
Right.
And we also saw Frozen the musical, which I thought was amazing.
Really?
Aiden said, "Yes, Dad, I want to go see Frozen, but don't tell anybody."
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, I think it's primarily considered a more of a girl-leaning movie.
No, really? I would have had no idea.
This week we dedicate our episode to Dad Bod, and when I talked to you,
and
you
just want to say something.
You thought Dad Bod. Well, who else better to ask than Tommy?
I just wanted to say something about the accent. To those of you listening, it's Dad Bod.
Dad
It
Bod.
sounded like Dead Bod when
Dad
my
Bod.
Israeli husband said it. And just don't be worried. We're talking about living people.
Yes. And I just want to give, because I did some research. After you said that to me, you commented about that. Like, who else am I supposed to turn to other than you? It sounds like I'm insulting you. So I'm like, maybe we're not so clear about what Dad Bod is. Did I say it correctly?
Yeah.
Thank you, my American husband.
You're welcome.
So I did some research, and I got to the confusion because there's some people who think differently about what Dad Bod is. So
I did some research as well.
Oh, good.
Both of you, of course, mean Google, but whatever.
First of all, the term started with a college student named Mackenzie Pearson.
At Clemson University.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You
Wow.
know.
2015, she wrote an article.
And it's rather new because I thought it's much older than that.
2015.
Yeah, it was.
Well, the term had actually been kind of loosely used since 2009.
Okay, you should add that
but
to Wikipedia.
it didn't become viral or part of the common
Mainstream.
pop.
So she claims
Mainstream.
she invented it, and it originally was a joke between her and her circle of friends. The reason why I was confused is that I'm, as a regular entertainment consumer, read in 2016 an article about Chris Hemsworth, and they redefined Dad Bod.
I should say he does. Yes.
I wanted to print.
I don't think the term that I'm familiar with applies to him at all.
So wait, so let me ask you a question. I'm sorry, it's not on the list. What would be amongst well-known celebrities or what have you, Dad Bod?
Well, I think, in my recollection, and again, stating that Mackenzie, who made the term part of the pop culture vernacular in 2015, it was actually, I think, kind of a complimentary term for her college-age friends. It didn't really have anything to do with dads. It just basically had people that maybe were more athletic in high school, but when they were coming to college were not as athletic. Still worked out, but didn't chisel their bodies or define their bodies, but had muscle underneath a layer of soft fat tissue.
So high school football players.
College.
Is what you're saying.
Former high school football
Right,
players.
who went to
Exactly.
seed a little bit when they went to college.
And well, actually, it even says that maybe like to drink beer on the weekends. A lot of it.
Right.
It usually is accompanied with a beer belly,
Right.
of some sort, and a taste for pizza.
And yet desirable for this woman.
Now, my first and the picture I think that went viral in use, according to Dad Bod, and I hope he doesn't take this in the wrong way, but Leonardo DiCaprio,
Yes.
who was always very lean and some would say even skinny, who now, and this is a few years ago, I have no idea what shape he's in right now, but coming out of the water, kind of almost like a James Bond coming out of the water. He had, I think, if I remember correctly, he had like a white shirt open and fit this description.
Yeah, a couple of supermodels ago.
Let me just suggest that whereas in the movie Titanic he sank, probably not now.
I had a confusion about what Dad Bod is, and I thought that Dad Bod means, inspired by Chris Hemsworth, of course, is like a
well, he is inspiring.
Yes.
Inspires me.
Yes.
Dads who work out and take care of their bodies. And why did we want to do a whole episode about this? It's just because we all want to keep maintaining our bodies in some ways.
Well, look, I think that we would look at it like this. There's a general stereotype or pressure amongst all gay men to take care of themselves and look good and be in good shape. So having children makes that so very much harder, but it does not remove the influence that you would otherwise have.
For good or for bad,
Absolutely.
That pressure is there.
Yeah.
I mean, in the gay community, for most people, whether it's self-imposed or whether they feel it is imposed by the community, there are a lot of people who would say that is a bad thing. Some people say that is a good thing because it motivates them to stay healthy and working out. And you know, it goes hand in hand. If you work on the outside, you're benefiting the inside.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all there is to it. I mean, if you're doing it for the right reasons, if you're only doing it for vanity or self-esteem issues, which working out should help increase your self-esteem, but that can be considered the negative. But if you're working out and trying to, in my terms, prevent a dad bod, but in our newly defined term as of this morning as a Chris Hemsworth dad bod, then that's aspirational by all means.
We have to put a good picture of him up on the site when we post this podcast.
No, I want to share.
I don't think that's hard to find. There's a few of them out there.
There was a picture of so the story, the original story of the change of the term was with Chris and his father, who also looks amazing.
You're saying it's all genetics.
So and Australian. I want to know more about you because obviously you work out a lot and it's something that you do for a living. So first of all, what made you decide to become a spin trainer? Was that
spinning instructor? I consider myself fortunate in that I work in a fitness industry, so that kind of forces me to work out. I look at that as a blessing. I mean, because like many of us, I think if we're not forced to go to the gym sometimes, we probably would not. So I'm forced to go because that is my job. I consider myself a part-time stay-at-home dad, and a part-time spin instructor. And that's pretty much been the way it is. I was an actor. Mm-hmm. I don't consider myself an active actor anymore.
But you never know. You just never know what could happen.
I'm an active SAG member. I pay my dues. But I kind of quit going out on auditions, not when the kids were born, but shortly thereafter. But I never stopped going to the gym because that was my steady job. Right. And like I said, I've worked at Crunch the whole time. I've worked at many other gyms as well, in addition to currently right now I work exclusively at Crunch on Sunset. But that forced me to go to the gym. And, of course, as an instructor, there's probably a little more added pressure to maintain some kind of exterior physical health and appearance. But I'll admit to that. But at the same time, I'm also very, very grateful that I have this job to also keep me healthy because I'm forced to do cardio. Yeah, every time I teach a class.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. So, a personal trainer who does weights works out a little bit during training, but
not very much.
Right? You are actually doing, I assume. I'm terrified of spin classes, so I don't.
You shouldn't be. You should come take my class. I'm very user-friendly.
It's not you that I'm afraid of. It's the bike that I'm afraid of. No, but you're basically doing everything that they're doing.
Yes.
So that means how many
there's
classes?
There's different teaching styles, and some people teach off the bike, have students get up on the bike and teach for them. I choose to ride every class, and because I have to be aware of what's going on with everybody else in class, and because I'm responsible for the energy in class, I cannot work as intensely as I'm asking my students or my clients because then I would be dead.
Right.
And I have to be able to talk. And talking takes a lot of energy while you're writing. So I may not go at 100% like I'm asking them to go, or more than 100%, 110%. But I am going and I'm doing everything and I'm writing and I am getting a workout in. However, doing the same workout for a long period of time can kind of like lose its efficiency. You'll find this in any type of exercise, and it's not just spinning, but which can lead to what I'm trying to fight off is the dad bod. Right. So it's all about changing it up, and fortunately it's so important and vital. Such a vital part of it is music, which makes it easy to change it up the music, the actual workout, the energy, the instruction, all of that.
Okay, I want to go 10 years back in time.
Okay.
And because I think that for most dads, even those who go to the gym, especially when the first kid come along, you experience some sort of a shake in it shakes your whole life.
Sure.
And it's exhausting. And the last thing sometimes you want to do is go to the gym. What was the experience like for you?
Well, 10 years ago, when the boys were born, Aiden and Austin, we were fortunate in that we had amazing babysitters. We don't call them a nanny because they didn't live there. We didn't leave them. They would come and take care of the kids while I would go to the gym and work out. Teach and work out. So they were there for a few hours every morning, Monday through Friday. And of course, Rich is at work at his office full time. And so I was fortunate in that they would come and watch the boys for 4, maybe 5 hours sometimes in the mornings when I would go teach and work out. So I got my workout in, and I do think it's very important for dads, and I don't think anybody will disagree that it's important to maintain your time, whether it be in the gym or your time as dads or as a couple, to maintain your social connections. You can't lose yourself in your family, and I don't mean to take away anything from people that their life is everything. I mean, their family is everything, because that's great, that's awesome. But I also feel it's very important to maintain your own independence as a social person and as a healthy person. So those things should not be sacrificed. It doesn't always work out that way where, we didn't have, like I said, a nanny. We didn't have a night nurse. We did it ourselves. And a lot of people will hire a night nurse. And again, not saying that any of that is wrong. They're great things. I mean, a night nurse, to help, new parents, take care of the pressures and the fears that come along with infants at night.
And terror.
And, also accompanying then, doing it yourself, the lack of sleep that you can get. Again, Rich and I, I keep calling myself very fortunate because I do consider myself very fortunate. I mean, I have, an amazing husband who is very successful at what he does because he's passionate about it. He's very good at it. But we also have different personalities. He's an early riser. I'm a late night person. So it was very easy for us I would take the late night feedings up until 3 o'clock in the morning. And then he usually gets up at 4:30 anyway. Right. And so he would take the early morning. If there were any, wake ups or anything during those times, we would tend to them, so that was pretty easy for us. And I love that we did do it, on our own. And
So if I'm allowed to ask, how did he do? Apparently he doesn't train as his job, right? He has an office job.
No, he's even more committed to working out than I am.
Wow.
He gets up at 4:30 every morning still and goes to the gym and works out before going to the office all day.
And did he do that from the very beginning?
Well, you know what? He was actually for a time, even while he was a practicing lawyer. He was an instructor on the weekends and at night.
The truth comes out.
Instructor, and he was a Barry's boot camp instructor for 8 years.
Wow.
So yes, he has definitely fended off the Dad Bod and is much closer to
Hemsworth,
the Chris Hemsworth Dad Bod.
Right.
So you had babysitters and people who watch your kids, but I guess that in our case we did that too. But in our case, every time a babysitter came along to our home, we just went to sleep. So we prefer to.
I completely understand that.
Do you have any kind of sleep-based working out program that you could? Okay,
you need sleep.
You do
to get the full benefits of a good workout. Yes.
I'll tell you what, I wanted to ask you this. So do you, and forgive me because my husband probably has well-structured questions that I'm just blowing off right now, but do you have any students who are gay dads?
Yes.
And who I assume are not also trainers themselves. Although the way I hear it, you only hang out with seriously. So you have some of those.
I have gay and straight dads.
Right. And I wanted to ask, so without getting in any of them in any trouble, have you noticed any sort of real differences in the approach that those two types?
Well, I see it all the time. I mean, one, because it's Rich's field, being a fertility lawyer.
Oh.
We stay active in, and we have a lot of friends that are gay dads. Being in fitness, and teaching at the times that I do, 7 a.m. and 9:30 a.m., I will often get people that are, going to work right before they go to work, or parents that have just dropped their kids off at school or summer camp or whatever, and that would be more the 9:30 class. Mm-hmm. So I see it in my work and in my social circles.
Right.
And I see all kinds of different approaches. There are some that, stay focused and stay committed the whole time. They never miss a beat. There are some that, do lose a lot of sleep during the first, 6 months to a year, and then get right back into it. I see all kinds of different approaches, and whatever works best, whatever makes you happy, and whatever gives you fulfillment, satisfaction as a dad. I think that's important.
If you were working out before the kids came, is there something you can and should do, even at the very beginning when it's a nightmare, right, to keep it going? And if that could just be a very small thing, what would it be?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I think it's extremely important to stay committed to that you time, whether it be at the gym or whether it be at a coffee shop or a hike in Runyon Canyon, whatever.
Right.
Take that time for yourself. And if that involves working out, which it should for health reasons, if you want a happy and healthy and long life, then you should work out. Don't give it up completely.
So you have almost no time to do it and you're exhausted. You really are. But you want to do a little bit to take care of yourself physically. What would that little bit be that you would recommend?
Come ride with Tommy at Crunch for 45 minutes.
So a cardio thing more than a
I'm half
thing?
Joking, and I say that, but I've said that for years. I'm like spinning. For people that hate working out or people that find it very difficult to get to the gym in the mornings. Well, and even in evenings, social calendars can take you away from the gym in the evenings, and dinner and being tired after a full day's work, all that kind of stuff. We all have excuses. There are all kinds of excuses. You have to not let those excuses get in the way. That's another excuse that you can easily talk yourself out of going to the gym, is if it's more than 5, 10, 15 minutes away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So find one that's close to you. If that is, or close to your work, or on the way home or to work, that you can easily stop in and get out of and incorporate into your daily routine. But I've always said to so many of my clients and spinning students over the years is, classes in general, all you have to do is get to the gym. Once you get there, the instructor, the energy of the class and the music should push you the rest of the way to get those results. So if you're looking for kind of like a bare minimum of what to do, a great way is to go take a class.
And also I hear that in spin classes you can lose a lot of belly fat.
Exactly.
Which is very important.
Well, okay, and I say this in class all the time too. Cardio doesn't do it alone. It's cardio in addition to proper diet and nutrition.
Yes. And this is very important too, because I think that the problem as an immigrant, as I like to call myself, I think that the problem in America...
We're very glad that you're here, by the
way. Some people are very glad that he's here. Not all of the listeners may be, but
I think the problem in America is the eating at night. It's the eating in front of the TV.
Definitely. And I experienced that problem myself because I am not totally responsible, but primarily responsible for the evening meals. And while I'm cooking or preparing the meals, I tend to sample.
Yes.
And I eat more than I should. My portion management is kind of out the window when I'm cooking and preparing for the kids because I want to, make sure that they get their stuff first and all this. And
do you have specific? I know you're not a dietitian or anything, but do you have any specific diet tips that you can give anyone who wants to start?
Food services, food delivery services are growing in popularity. There's food delivery of all kinds, and then there are food delivery services for specifically weight training and physical health, and dieting and stuff like that. So, I mean, we just signed up for one for the first time because some friends recommended it to us, and we thought, well, we've been talking about it for a while, and I think it's called 80% Kitchen, and
80%,
and we're on our third week with them, and it's a huge time saver, huge time saver, and if you look at if you go out to eat a lot, if you look at the cost of going out to eat a lot versus food delivery services, that could be a great way to maintain healthy eating. Because again, like I mentioned before, cooking for kids, it's not necessarily the healthiest, and you don't necessarily eat the healthiest when you're with your kids. But if you take that extra step and you have the ability, monetarily and time and location, whatever, to have food delivered in those services, and you can tell them, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to maintain, I'm trying to build muscle. You can tell them, and they'll help you. Most of these companies, these kitchens will. I think the Blue Apron, it's not so much. I know
you
wrong.
have to prepare yourself.
Yeah, you prepare it yourself.
Okay.
They deliver you all the ingredients. I understand what you're getting at. That though, sure. I mean,
so you said you have two boys. So
yes.
So I assume they grew up to this kind of sort of
fitness orientation
home.
Yes, they see that fitness is a big part of our lives.
Did you try in any time to kind of implement it on them? Did you?
We haven't yet. We haven't yet. I mean, Aiden is obsessed with sports. He loves all kinds of sports. I love it.
I think it's.
I love it. I love football. I love watching football.
Who's this guy?
I love college football more than pro football. I'm from Texas A&M, and he wants to grow up and he wants to go play football at Texas A&M, and then he wants to play pro football after that.
Oh.
He's been playing flag football for 4 or 5 years. He has not played full contact. His mind may change when he does that because he's dead set. He wants to play now. I have been given advice that it's probably not the best idea for kids to play full contact with the whole concussion, theories out there until they're in high school. Now, of course, I grew up in Texas where people were in pads, and Little League and Pee Wee League.
Yeah.
I played in junior high. I didn't play in high school. I love the sport. I love it. But so I love that he's that involved in it, and he's already active. Austin is obsessed with horses, and horseback riding is a sport as well.
Yeah.
But it's not as active as that. So we are trying to, and along with impressing upon them nutritional, and what. God bless Austin's kindergarten teacher, Miss Oza. She stressed upon them and gave them, that was one of their topics for lessons, is half of your plate should be fruit and vegetables. And so he remembered that, and we remembered that, and so we've stuck to that, and we've tried to do that because nutrition is so important to growing kids, to people that want to make a change in their body. I mean, it's just you can't live without it, and without an emphasis on proper nutrition.
Yeah.
So the exercise, the activity levels, we tell them. Well, Aiden, we haven't had to tell because we want them to be physically active. We want them in a physical activity out of school. They get to play, but PE that we grew up having all the time, almost every day, is not an everyday activity in schools anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't know the effects of budget cuts until your kid is in school.
Right.
And when libraries are being taken out and PE is once a week or once every 2 weeks.
Ooh.
I mean, yes.
Oh, wow.
That's
and
bad.
in elementary school, if I understand correctly, it's up to the teachers that have them all day long to incorporate
physical activity
into the recess.
Delightful.
Or I know. And they already have so much on their plates. Are you kidding me? I mean, my heart goes out to teachers. I have so much respect for teachers. But for them, you can't rely on school to give your child the proper physical activity levels.
Right. More than what you say to them is what you do that actually makes an impact. And do they ever comment on...
I think they both do. They both are very important. What you
do
say,
they ever comment on what you eat?
The biggest example of that I can think of right off the top of my head is, when we drink a soda, and we don't want them drinking sodas, we make it a very rare occasion where they, drink a soda. So when they see us drinking, they're like, "Well, you don't let us drink it that often. How come you're drinking it?" And honestly, it doesn't come out that often because we don't drink sodas that much. Mm-hmm. But when we drink alcohol, if we have a beer or wine or something like that. Or tea. Like, I don't want them having caffeine this young. Right. Austin loves tea. Aiden doesn't really care about it, but Austin wants tea, and I'll let him have, herbal tea.
Right.
And caffeine-free even. So they're both very individual. They both have their likes and dislikes. They both, and of course, as they get older, they're going to call you out on stuff all the time. Why are you getting to drink it, or why are you getting to eat that if I can't,
Yeah.
You've just got to, what you hit on was just right. I mean, a lot of it comes from what you say, but also a big part of it is what you do. And living a good example, of course, and that applies to so much of life, is a great thing.
Yeah. What was now let's focus a little bit about the kids. What was the most challenging year for you so far?
I don't know if I could say a particular year that was most difficult, because I just remember being told that, remember this time, take lots of pictures, because, it's a challenging time, and, but it changes. Every year changes, and you're going to forget a lot. And I'm like, how could you say that? I'm never going to forget anything. Every moment I spend with my baby is a lifetime moment,
Oh, I thought you meant in a good way. I thought you meant... Don't worry, you'll forget the horror that is this, because we haven't forgotten anything.
That is why people have more than one kid.
because they forget.
Because they forget the horrors, and I think that's, a population
control.
Population protection.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
If you forget the horrible, for women that go through childbirth, for them to go through it again and again, I mean, like, wow.
We have, we have an iPhone. We have iPhones with a lot of storage, so we have the ability to sit back and watch videos of our children shrieking from the earliest ages. And so, as gay men, the chances that we'll accidentally have another child are very, very low.
Very low.
But now they're even lower.
This is true. And again, to answer your question, I can't say which one year, because now that they're older and much more independent and more free thinking, they're also beginning, to talk back and maybe be a little too independent, maybe a little more independent than we think. So I think every year has its own challenges, and just treasure the positive and you'll usually forget the bad times.
Will you have more?
No. We are done.
Period.
So I think that says something.
I get asked that all the time. And
yeah.
Our goal was to have 2 kids. Right. And in my ideal world, not so much riches, but in my ideal world, I wanted 2 boy twins.
Right.
We were very fortunate. Our first transfer wasn't successful, but our second one was. And we did not do a DNA test. And I'm talking very openly here because I've told people, we're an open book. If we can help anybody else in their process, in their journey, by telling them what happened with our journey, then that's awesome. That's great. So we put in 4 embryos, which I don't think they're doing in practice at all anymore. We put in 4 embryos. 2 were fertilized by my sperm and 2 fertilized by his. And 2 took. We don't know exactly which
not
2
obvious?
did.
Is it not obvious?
It's
pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But we intentionally did not do a DNA test.
Right.
because it didn't matter, for one thing, and it really doesn't. I thought it would matter a little bit, but it really doesn't. Because there are days when you're like, oh my gosh, that is so rich.
Right.
And I'm like, I thought that was my DNA, or the other way around. I thought that was Rich's DNA, but it really doesn't matter. And it's
it just depends on whether the child is being bad or good.
Exactly.
That's how we determine whose child it is. Exactly. But okay.
Just because you touched that, and I found it really charming. The whole taking them to musicals, and the whole gay friends and gyms.
Yes. So, well, of course, with us being gay, we're going to have a lot of gay friends.
Yeah.
And they had when they were younger, they had a lot of uncles that were not necessarily genetically uncles. Gunkles is now becoming a very popular
word. It's just terrible.
They have they even have a day. There's a Gunkle Day.
Gunkle Day.
There is.
There's a day for everything. Yeah. There's a day for everything. But so yes, and I mentioned the importance of maintaining your social circle, your friends. That's obviously it's going to change. Accept that. Don't beat yourself up over it, because some of the friends that we have now weren't necessarily the friends that we thought were going to stay with us through this process, through this journey. Some of the friends that we thought would be right there with us the whole way are not with us. So your friends are going to change, and you can't blame them, and you can't resent them. Life is full of changes, and regardless of whether you're gay or a parent or whatever, people are going to come in and out of your lives. You maintain that social circle, but exposing that. But at the same time, with all the gunkles that we had around, we also felt like a little bit that our kids have two gay dads and a lot of gay uncles. It was also important to have a female presence. But we're also, we go to a public school, and we go to church, and we're trying to fill them with as much positive influence, and that's getting smaller and smaller in public school nowadays. But I do think diversity, introducing them to diversity at school was so important. Not necessarily that we're going to stay in public all along their educational system, but church was another way of introducing other families.
That's great.
Yeah, I think it is important to expose them to as much as you can. It's an old saying that I heard a long time ago. It's like throwing spaghetti against the wall. What sticks, is going to stick, and the rest is just going to fall off.
Yeah. Can I just want
to
ask
to end with that.
No, because I have a test question. Quick test question. This is like a surprise question for you.
Oh, great.
Yes, as a spin instructor.
Yes.
Okay. If you had to teach spin classes to gay men on a desert island, and you could only have one artist's worth of music.
Wow.
What artist would that be? Gay men, desert island, bicycles.
Would that include remixes?
I'm going to allow that.
Thank you. Wow.
No.
What'd you say?
Kylie Minogue. None of these people know who Kylie Minogue is.
I love Kylie, but she would not be the one I would choose for
not
the
in
island.
America.
I know, right? I love her. I love a lot of her stuff.
Okay, stop trying to influence the witness. Go ahead.
Gosh, one?
You only get one.
Only one. Well, I guess I would probably have to say Whitney.
Oh, for spin.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting remixes. Yeah. Okay.
Or Janet.
I see. I don't know.
It's hard for me to say one, because Whitney I've used a lot of, and a lot of her remixes. Janet, I just love. Yeah, this.
All right, well that's all right. We'll give you the two.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tommy.
Thank
Ride
you.
with Tommy at Crunch, right?
Ride with Tommy at Crunch on
Thank
Sunset.
you so much.
Thank you guys. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
again. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. So,
are we back?
Yes, we're back. Hi, guys. That was Tommy. I'm feeling like putting some Janet on.
I know. You know what? Oh my God. We really
love
can't
Janet.
use the music, but it's like something from Xanadu or something in the background right now would make me feel like.
Really?
No.
No, Janet's new song.
Really. So did everybody do what I asked them to and Google Dad Bod? Because what I find fascinating when you look at the images in Google Images from Dad Bod is you see some unbelievable bodies in there that are really nice to look at, and then you just see page after page after page of Seth Rogen with a shirt off. And honestly, Seth, listen to me, please. I love you. You're amazing. Just keep the shirt on. Keep the shirt on. We don't need to see it.
Yeah,
I'm
he
sure
loves
it's
showing
great.
his.
It's great under there, but we don't need to see it. We don't need to see it. He lives like really close to here. He could pop by.
I want to go over all the tips to just wrap it up nicely.
Okay.
You know, but first of all, I have. So we talked about the blah, 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 how we called it, the food delivery service.
Oh yeah, the food delivery. So
Yes.
eating right, the food delivery services.
Delivery service, and he mentioned 80%. So guess what, Alex?
80% of what?
80% kitchen.
Right. Yes.
Guess what, Alex?
What?
So I talked to 80% this week.
Yes.
And
are we sponsored by 80%?
Not really, but
Okay.
close. So they're gonna give a good a deal, especially for our listeners.
Oh.
Yes, we have a code.
That's great.
This is how it works. Okay, so if you sign for the first week of trial, if you're in LA area and you want to go out and try it, Alex and I will give our 2 cents why it's good, because we're gonna try it ourselves.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do the first week, is gonna cost you $50 for the whole week of meals.
Okay.
Then, if you like it, the first month you get 5% off.
Oh, that's not bad. That's good. Yeah.
That's good. So you have to use the code when you go online to their 50percentkitchen.com. There's also all the details going to be on our page. You have to add the code 50RobMPod. It's going to be on our podcast page.
Yeah, because what you really want is to have
So
the
it's a
code
discount.
spelled to you in audio by an Israeli for you to type in.
50.
Look on the website.
50 Rob, ROBMPOD.
And with that, a little music from Jan's iPhone. daddysqr.com. You'll find it there. Use it. We're going to do it together.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you guys in Dublin will not be able to take advantage of it.
Haters.
That's right. We don't want any good-looking homophobes. It's completely unacceptable.
So I think that this idea, for us at least, it's going to work great, because we both working, right?
Yeah.
We don't have time to cook, or / we don't,
We don't want to cook.
We don't want to. And it's a good way for us to eat healthy at dinner time, which is the worst. We can manage breakfast very well, and lunch we eat at work. So dinner time is always a problem.
I'm in. Let's give it a try.
We're going to try that. And it's also good for the kids. And I think that one of the things that he said about setting an example, I think that it's the best way to set an example. When the kids see you eat well, it doesn't matter what other people tell them, or they're going to eat well.
Well, look,
they're going to want to try what you do, because they want to be, it's a psychological thing.
Yeah.
It's psychology 101. Your kid's going to want to be like you secretly.
Yeah.
So become an example. We talked about that. I also want to mention Austin's kindergarten teacher, who said half of your plate should be fruit and vegetables. I wish we could do that. It's very hard.
I mean, I wouldn't mind half of my plate being fruit. I just can't do.
What kind of fruit?
No, not that kind of fruit. I just can't do vegetables. It's a problem. I hate them. And the worst thing is that, I see in the genetics of one of my children that he hates them too, except for ketchup, which, Ronald Reagan said was a vegetable, and he was a great leader. But no, I wanted to mention something else about this whole interview and the whole question of how this stuff translates to your kids. Because, one of the things that I'm seeing is that one of our kids, he doesn't really like to do a lot of the strenuous physical stuff. And I say to myself, and that was me, I didn't either when I was a kid, and I do now, and that transition has happened, over the course of 30 years or something. And I'm asking myself, what can I do to get him to start feeling like it's fun because his dad thinks it's fun? And so I've tried a few things, and he has reactions that remind me of myself as a little kid, where he says, "I can't," and I say, "Shit," like. Is this a cycle that he's going to have to figure out himself in another 20-some years like I did? Or is there something that I can do? And so, if you all have any ideas, you can certainly email me or us at hello@daddysqr.com.
Fortunately, he has me too. You're forgetting about that.
No, I understand.
Because you're a creation of your two parents as well. And he's a creation of us. So, I just wanted to kind of, before we go back to eating cake. I promise we'll go to the gym later, but now we're eating birthday cake. A few things that I kind of wrote for you guys to keep in mind is that eating at night problem. I have a very good tip that works very well for me, which is 12 hours between dinner and breakfast, not to eat anything, or at least, drink water very, very light. Eat very lightly. It's more than the losing weight and keep maintaining your diet. It's also good for your health system because your whole bowel system, everything gets to rest for a few hours, and that leaves the body some energy to deal with other stuff that you have physically. And it was recommended by many doctors' books that I've read. So eat a good dinner, then don't eat until breakfast. You'll see the results, and you're going to feel much better. The other one is the get into the class that he mentioned. So cardio, basically, I think it's if you want to start, cardio is the way to start at the gym. Go to a class. You have to register, and like Tommy said, just get there and let everything else happen.
Let me tell you how cardio works for me. As I approach it, whether it's like the bike or running or whatever it is, as I approach it, I really dread it. I'm tired. I don't want to do it. And 2 minutes into cardio, I have this kind of weird euphoria thing. I mean, every single time where I feel like I could, rule the world and control, the sun and the moon. And that feeling is so incredible. And it means that the body is kind of opening up and getting ready for the day. I only do cardio in the mornings. Not to say that you can't do it any other time. Cardio is the bomb.
Yeah. And also, I think that something else that really contributes to a good cardio session is the music, and he mentioned that too.
Sure.
So if you don't have music that you particularly like, or you need some ideas for playlists or whatever, you can also write to us at hello@daddysqr.com. I'm also a music editor. And I have some lists on Spotify that I can definitely share with you.
Post them on the site.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that.
And look, I'll tell you what, there are people who think that cardio is a great time to catch up on their NPR podcasts and things like that. No. I love my NPR podcast, but no. Yeah. That is when you need...
Or TV shows. I don't understand that too.
None of that.
It has to be music that pumps you up.
No Melville audio books. None of that shit. You need pumping music. It doesn't have to be Jan's terrible taste in music. It can be my terrible taste in music or yours. But yeah, music. You need music.
Yeah.
You got to move.
And I think that's it. My closing remarks will end with we're an open book. So something that he said that I think that we're too, Alex.
What, an open book? I got a lot of secrets, and I don't need people to know.
But as far as raising the kids, and complaining and stuff like that. So if you want to just talk to us, or you need advice or anything, just email us. Either an email or on Twitter at Yanir Dekel or hello@daddysqr.com. And we promise that we'll reply everyone.
Except for that nasty man who wrote the nasty.
Yeah, that's
no replies to you.